Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Xbox on March's Games of Gold, where you can get the awesome opportunity to get some free games.
Yeah, this month the games are amazing. We've got Borderlands 2, Layers of Fear, so me and Benny are gonna take a closer look, so let's do it.
Can I just say, I'm not sure why I always get given the horror games. I'm pretty sure the Xbox On team are just trying to wind me up. I spent most of my time playing this cowering behind a pillow. So, if it wasn't painfully obvious, Layers of Fear is a horror game, and a particularly creepy, psychologically messed up one at that. It's hard to piece the story together without giving too much away, but you play the role of a painter as you explore a decadent old building. It starts off as a fairly standard creepy horror game. There's eerie music playing and little sounds that make you jump. As soon as you get past the intro, however, that's when it all gets very, very weird. The entire building itself starts to morph and change, playing tricks on your eyes and totally messing up your mind in the process. Go into one room, have a look around, and then turn around and boom, everything's changed. The walls are swirling and there's probably some old creepy oil painting eyeing you up too. As you wander around the house, you'll find scraps of paper and pictures that start to paint a very twisted story. From pictures with faces scratched out to notes that hint of a fairy tale that went wrong, you can't help but feel a chill down your back as you start to piece the story together. And atmosphere and chills aside, there are plenty of jump scares to keep you on your toes. I may be the most jumpy person ever, but being in such an unsettling environment means the tiniest movement or change in anything will have you chucking your controller down. From that stray piano chord, to a knife suddenly hurtling near your face, to a rat running out underneath your feet, you'll constantly find yourself holding your breath as you wait for the next thing to freak you out. It's not your classic run away from the bad guy and try and kill them kind of horror game either. It's all about exploration, discovery, and piecing together the horrible past. Much like Gone Home, you spend your time in a house, looking through drawers and searching rooms. There are puzzles as you go, but they're usually quite easy to get your head around. It's more about the experience than anything else. There's also multiple different endings depending on how you approach certain scenarios, so you'll want to dive back in and try things out another way once you've reached your horrifying conclusion, if not just for those lovely achievements. If you're fresh out of Resident Evil 7 and you're looking for another fright to keep you hooked, then make sure to check out Layers of Fear this March.
Next up, we have a game that was actually the very first game that I ever streamed on Xbox On with Graeme, and that's Evolve, which is a completely unique experience, which is both a first-person shooter when you're playing as one of the hunters, though is also a third-person shooter when you're playing as the monster. Each game of Evolve involves 5 players, 4 playing as the hunters and 1 player being the monster. The objective for the hunters is to kill the monster, and for the monster is to evolve and destroy the objective, obviously depending on the game mode that you're playing. So if you have that one friend who always thinks that they're the best gamer out of everyone, then they finally have the chance to prove it. Evolve has a huge range of different hunter characters for you to choose from, 20 in all, but they're split into 4 different classes. First, there is Assault, who are the main damage dealers, then Support, who support other players by charging teammate shields, for example. Then you have the Medic, who needs to revive their teammates, as well as being able to heal them. And then finally, you have the Trapper, who not only gets this really cool pet to help track down the monster, but is also crucial to help slowing the monster down and stopping them from escaping, so you can pick up that all-important kill. But thankfully, as there's 20 different characters for you to play, there's loads to try out until you find your personal favourite. But of course, the thing that I'm sure you'll really care about is being able to control those awesome monsters, capable of tearing apart the other 4 players, and what's also really cool is that there are a total of 5 different monsters that you can play as to suit your playstyle. First up is the Goliath, who is the first monster that you'll be able to get your hands on, and he has the strongest armor as well as the most health out of all the monsters. Think Godzilla. And then you have the Kraken, which is my personal favorite as it has a ton of electrical abilities that are absolutely incredible at taking out enemy hunters, as well as who doesn't like saying the Kraken. Then there is the Wraith, which is pretty much the alien queen, stealthy, fast, terrifying, but has a load of awesome abilities like being able to abduct a hunter from the group and kill him before he can get any of his teammates' support. And then you have the Behemoth, which instantly makes me think about Battlefield 1 these days. Giant behemoth airship, giant rolling monster that spits out lava. I can see the similarities. And then finally you have the Gorgon, which is pretty much a spider, so you can launch yourself around the map with your traversal ability, as well as being able to launch sneak attacks, though if you're scared of spiders, this may be one monster to avoid, or squish depending on your preference. Overall, Evolve is definitely worth giving a go. It's an awesome arena-based shooter which allows you to have a ton of fun if you feel like playing solo and kicking ass with a monster, or playing with a group of friends and playing as the hunters. But whatever the situation, there's a load of different game modes for you to try out, so go ahead and download it for free with Games with Gold and let me know how you get on. And now we have one of my favorite games that has ever been included in Games with Gold, Borderlands 2. If for some reason you haven't ever had a chance or got around to playing Borderlands 2, this is your perfect opportunity to do so, and believe me, you will not be disappointed. The closest game that I can actually think of to it for those new to the franchise would be Destiny. It has without a doubt one of the funnest multiplayer experiences that I've ever had, where you can play through the same game as you would in single player with up to 4 players. The overall game involves making your way through the campaign, completing quests and side missions, whether in single player or co-op, leveling up your character, getting better loot, everything that you would expect from this sort of game. I also have to touch on the game's art style, which is completely unique to the Borderlands franchise, and compared to games like Destiny, is a lot more cartoon-like, with very sharp lines highlighting everything from player characters to the scenery, which you'll completely fall in love with. Also, how could I not mention one of my favourite game characters of all time, the lovable and absolutely hilarious Claptrap, who is actually quite annoying, but he comes out with some amazing puns, comments, and trust me, you'll know what I mean when you start playing. And when you do start playing, there are a huge range of different characters to choose from, which will keep you coming back for more, as each offers a different playstyle through their talent trees, which is something that I love about Borderlands 2. There is so much actual content for you to play with that you'll never get bored. The combat is also awesome, though once again is very similar to Destiny, where you'll run into enemies in the open world and while on quests, which you'll fight with all of them having different health pools, abilities and shields depending on what you're fighting. You'll also have a huge range of different weapons, from shotguns, pistols, machine guns, which have a load of different stats such as damage, fire rate, magazine size, as well as damage types such as explosive bullets, depending on what you're using. But I think the thing that made me fall in love with the game is its sense of humour, from Claptrap to some of the bosses that you come up against, to just some of the dialogue you'll see in quests or from other characters. It's just a lot of fun. But the game has so much to it, so rather than keep telling you all about it, I implore you to hop onto your Xbox One right now and download it for free with Games of Gold. You honestly will not be disappointed, and let me know in the comments your first impression, as I can't wait to hear how you found it.
Now, Heavy Weapon may look quite simple, but it's actually a highly addictive arcade game. Made by PopCap Games, it's a side-scrolling twin-stick shoot-'em-up where you control a powerful tank. You'll find yourself being attacked constantly by planes, missiles, and other ground vehicles as you progress across each level. There are a few different game modes, with the story mode hinging on a Red Star invasion, where you take the role of the commander of the atomic tank to repel the invasion. The whole premise of the game is the idea of one individual against the collective forces of communism. Yeah, pretty deep for an Xbox arcade game. As you progress from each level, the enemies will get more persistent and tougher. At the end of each round is a boss fight, which kind of reminds me of early Sonic days. They'll drift down from the sky and you'll batter them as much as possible till they explode and die. Nice. At the end of each level, you'll receive a power-up choice. I'd say go with the homing missiles to start with, because they're absolutely amazing and will make the following levels much easier to deal with. From extra shields and defense to lasers and massive missiles, you'll be decked out as a super tank as each level passes you by. You'll also get add-ons and power-ups chucked down to you by your team helicopter. Just be careful not to blow it out of the sky when things get manic. The upgrades will include things like upgraded shield power and multi-burst bullets. It also throws down the parts needed to make this incredible death laser. Once you've pieced it all together, you can go to town on every enemy and turn them to dust. It's so satisfying. There's also nuclear bombs, so much like Geometry Wars, when the screen is filled with enemies and you start to panic, just pull the trigger and watch all your enemies disappear before your very eyes. There's also survival mode, which you can can play with up to 3 local co-op mates. The aim of the game is simple. Stay alive for as long as you can whilst waves of enemies try to turn you into scrap metal. At every minute mark, you'll receive a warning with the difficulty level going up a notch. Your helicopter friend will chuck down power-ups, so make sure to hoover them up if you want any chance of surviving to the later rounds. There's a leaderboard too, so get some mates round and try and rise to the top of the ranks. I believe in you, soldier. If you're looking for a simple, mindless, yet totally addictive game which is easy to get your head around and massively competitive at the same time, then make sure to download Heavy Armor this March.
So there we have it, a load of awesome free games that you can get your hands on this month. Let us know in the comments what your favorites are, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos.
And make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.